So I have here with me 7 types of suffering, of which the 7th is the suffering of Christ. Now, the remaining 6 which I will share with you now is to help you to know what the suffering of Christ is not. Christians today believe that as long as I am a Christian and I am suffering, then I am suffering for Jesus. No, sir. The first kind of suffering I have on my list today is what I call the suffering of sin and lawlessness. Now, there are people who suffer because of their sins. They are Christians. The reason they are going through a form of suffering is because of their own personal lawlessness. A few weeks ago, we saw in the news a tragedy that happened to a man, how he tried to evade the cops, evade road safety, evade the police, and in a bid to, according to his claim, try to ensure he lands his children who are already late for JAMB for the exam, in the exam hall. And he drove like somebody who was carrying drugs. He drove like somebody who was carrying exhibit. He drove like somebody who probably has cocaine in his boot. And he drove very recklessly to evade the policemen. And one of the police, who also needs a rehabilitation, fired at the man's tire, so to speak. He tried to aim at the tire. I wonder how aiming at the tire landed on aiming at the car, and the bullet eventually pierced the stomach of the man's son, and the boy died. And take, for example, if that man was a Christian, he could have said, "See what I'm suffering for Jesus." No, that is not a suffering for Jesus. That is a suffering of lawlessness. It is understandable that the shooter, the policeman, was reckless in his behavior, but if he had simply obeyed, his children could have been late probably for an extra 10 minutes to the exam of that day, and their lives should have been preserved. So you see, there is a way righteousness keeps us away from problems. Merely walking the path of righteousness, you have almost evaded evil by almost 70%, just by walking the right way, just by doing the right thing, by not boycotting your journey. Some of you will pass one way today, because nobody is watching. Thank God I mentioned that. I know you are hearing me now, you can hear from me. Meanwhile, you are going to get to where you are going quickly, but you have quickly gotten out of God's will, because He will lead you only in the path of righteousness. So you got 5 minutes earlier to where you are meant to go. Meanwhile, that has readjusted the order of your life. Because you got there late, there are some things that are meant to happen because you got there late. There is a sequence in your life. There is somebody you are meant to meet because you got there late, and you'll be there later than before. And where you are going, probably an eatery where you will go after you leave the place, that is where you are meant to meet somebody that will connect you with a bigger contract, with a bigger project. But because you got there too early, you boycotted the right road. Now you made your appointments too early, and now you got to the restaurant to probably eat. The person you are meant to meet was not yet there. You finished your food, left there. The one who is meant to be your blessing came in. The path of righteousness is the path of the blessing. That is how you evade problem. That is how you walk into the blessing. Hallelujah. Imagine that Saul did not try to look for his father's sheep and said, "Who cares about my father? Who cares about my father?" He will not become a king, because there is a clear instruction. God knows that He will walk the path of righteousness. My father's donkeys are missing. I will make attempt to look for them. That is how you enter into destiny. That's a warning to somebody. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 15. But let none of you suffer as a murderer, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matter. There are some of you that have been sacked, not because you are suffering for Jesus. They didn't sack you because you were too righteous, or because you were too holy, or because you will not allow them to do the wrong things they want to do. They sacked you because you are the one that comes latest to the office. You are the one that will not do your work very well. You are the one that delivers poorly. So they decided that we want to reduce our number of staff, and your name is top on the list. Meanwhile, there are others who were not sacked. And then you say, "Hey, I'm suffering for Jesus." No, you are not suffering for Jesus. You are suffering for your own lawlessness and your own sins. They told you, "Mr. Man, you are eating too much." You said no. You kept on eating and overeating. You probably became obese, became exposed to all kinds of sicknesses. Do exercise. You say, "No, sir." Now sicknesses are coming into your life, and you say, "I'm suffering for Jesus." God has refused to answer my prayer. Meanwhile, you are the one who is guilty of lawlessness. Righteousness exalts a nation. Sin is a reproach to any people. So there is a suffering that is brought to your life by by sins. Some of it are direct, like the story I told you about. That man's own, the repercussion of his sins, he saw it immediately. But for some others, it won't be that obvious. You won't even know what you missed. Some of you, how many blessings you have missed, how many problems you have gotten yourself into just because you failed to walk the paths of righteousness. You are there praying, God, reveal your will to me. Show me where I am meant to go. Meanwhile, the simple, smallest path of righteousness, you are not treading it.